And it was a special season this year for Green Canyon boys soccer, who, despite their seeding and what the RPI said, turned out to be the best team in the state of Utah.
Yeah, so we've got Green Canyon boys soccer head coach Kirt Sadler here. Glad you could have you on. I had a chance to kind of watch firsthand the playoffs, and obviously able to broadcast that to a bunch of people. But it certainly felt special because going into the playoffs, it seemed like Region 10 was pretty dominant. You have Layton Christian as an independent. The region champion out of, Region 11 was the 4 seed. But you guys end up going all the way. I guess just kind of explain a little bit, what went on with that kind of run to kind of surprise people, including myself, with how good you guys were.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple games in the middle there where we were questioning who we were as a team. But at the beginning of the season, we had an old season team. A lot of seniors played at a high level in club. So we had pretty high expectations for this team. I know we got the 5 seed and we lost a few games we shouldn't have lost. But all in all, we still know we had a great team, great players, great kids. We had to make some, we moved a few kids around and they bought into the system we had defensively and just worked hard together. And we knew if we could put that together, and we proved that we could play with Ridgeline. We played Ridgeline, which is a great team, and Mount Crest, which is a great team. But we went 3 times with Ridgeline, and we were 1-game goal. All the games were 1-game goals difference. So we knew we could do this, and we just, sometimes it's about getting hot too. You buy into a system and you work hard and you put the work in. And you trust each other, there's not a lot you can't do.
I know with the late winter,
Yeah.
holding on very long, and creating issues with outdoor sports. I know sports like soccer and lacrosse, you tend to have a way to still get games played more so than baseball or softball. But it still had to have some effect with your ability to train and prepare and get ready for some of your games, because field availability must have been a real issue for you guys early going on.
Oh, yeah. That was I was talking to the guy that coached with me, Scott Jensen, and we were thinking about, how many days we actually had that was decent weather to train even before we got to the state final. And we probably had, you count on one hand of how many days it actually was sunny, not blowing, not snowing, not raining, of sessions we had to train outside. Luckily, we've had access to RSL a lot, but when the weather got bad, like it was, baseball and softball took all our time because they needed it, you know. So it was preparing for when we did get a hot game. We hadn't had a game over 50 degrees, that it was difficult to be like, how are these boys going to act when they got a play that's in a field temperature that's 70 degrees, 75 degrees. So that was a little bit, didn't know what they were going to be be.
So kind of on that, we've had this discussion on the air, 'cause we're talking about your guys' run. Also, Mountain Crest, you have 2 teams that were surprises. Do you feel like that weather played a factor to either you guys being underrated, or perhaps you guys really hadn't reached your full potential early on, and that kind of hurt you in the RPI, where you ended up being underrated for one reason or another, kind of because of that weather?
I think that could play a role. I think as we went through started getting the middle of our season, I figured we just need to make some little lineup changes, and not really taking it out of the game, but just maybe put it in a position where they can be more successful and help us put more pressure on the team's back lines, maybe do a little more work. And that was really, for me, that was really the difference. I think, we were getting to train in temperatures and all this, but I felt like just making a few position changes and then actually, the way they dove in and just put more effort on the little things in games, make sure we keep track of our runners, make sure we mark, make sure we are getting compact, make sure our back line's getting forward, just the little things that when we played the Ridgeline the second time, we made 3 major errors in that game that cost us the game. And we can't keep doing that if you want to win the championships.
So I'm kind of curious what some of those maybe small changes were. I know Colby Knight, he was the guy that Didn't have the greatest, statistics during the season, but then in the playoffs, I think he had like two or three goals in the playoffs. Some of those key goals. I think he had the goal in the championship game. I don't know if he was one of those players that made an adjustment and then had a great later season to help you guys make that push.
Yeah, Kobe had a great season. He played some JV, but he came in off the bench on every game, and he changed the impact at every game we played in. And he put himself in a position to be in the right place. He has a good first touch, has a nose for the goal, hard worker. So when he got in those moments, I just think Kobe was put in the effort to get in those positions to make a play. He was always willing to get there with the work. When he has a smart brain, he's a good soccer brain. So he just put himself in position to make sure he's in those situations, and he did a lot for us in the playoffs. He scored 2 goals? Was it 2 goals in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it was at least 2, maybe even 3.
Maybe
I'm not
3.
sure.
Yeah. So he was a big impact. He changed almost every game, even during our season. Was a big impactful player in our games.
And since we're talking about players, I mean, Braden Jensen either scoring or assisting on a lot of goals throughout the year. I mean, what kind of impact did he have? What kind of leadership did he show for your team?
He was very impactful, and people worried about him. I mean, after we played him, especially in the region, we played him the second time. They were defending us different, and that gave maybe Colby a little more room. It freed up some other players to make plays. Where Braden surprised people the whole first half of the season. I mean, he was directly involved with either the assist or the goals we scored for the first half of the season, and then I think teams put a little more attention on him, and he created a lot of mismatches, and he drew a lot more attention where I think it freed up more of our players to make plays. That's, in my opinion. You look at the attention he was getting every game, especially in the second half of region, and in the playoffs he had a lot of attention on him, but I think it gave more opportunities for other players.
So I know we focused a bit on the offense, but probably the most amazing thing, I think, for the whole playoff run is I don't think you guys gave up a single goal the entire playoffs. You're like 8-0, 1-0, 2-0, 1-0, basically, throughout your entire run. I guess, you guys clearly have a good back line and also good goalkeeper. Just tell us a little bit about that defense and what allowed you to shut out the field in your playoff run.
No, that group is a special group, and not one time did they ever lose hope or lose sight or lose what we're trying to do. But during the playoffs especially, the outside backs, Julio and Gavin Buck, they took care of their own business. And obviously Maynard and Allen, and we have Tanner Farron in there that got some minutes. They just didn't let the long ball get away from them. They stayed compact. They took care of their marking the 9. For me, Julio and Gavin made a big difference in the playoffs because they never needed much help. They took care of their 7 or 11 or their outside winger, and they took care of business all by themselves. And so that didn't leave Maynard or Allen having to step out and help them. And so we could really control the tempo of the games. And for the most part, in the playoffs there wasn't much chances that teams got except for set pieces. We really kept – and that comes down to a team, right? I mean, the back line did amazing, but our team shape and our team defending was phenomenal. And they've been working on it all year, working on that, and they maybe it just got refined at the right moment.
Yeah.
We're talking to Kirt Saddler, head coach for the Green Canyon boys soccer team. They went into the playoffs as the number 5 seed. Is that correct? And just great defense, doing what they needed to do to win and advance, and eventually coming home with the hardware. And Coach, let me just ask you about just overall, just region play here in Region 11, Northern Utah. The quality of play. We saw several teams from this area play well and go deep into these playoffs, and just getting through your region alone is enough of a kind of a refining aspect of you guys to emerge from that in a position to play well in the postseason.
Oh, yeah, our region's a nightmare, honestly. I mean, we didn't match up good with Logan. I mean, we played Logan the first game. We lost in PKs. We didn't play good in the first half. Second half was tons better. We played well, but we didn't score a goal. we struggle with them. I was dreading them to get them in the first round because the way it is, But no, our region, and hats off to the coaches and the club coaches and the parents and all this in the valley that invest time in their kids and invest time in the sport. And sometimes it's us as coaches just have to put the right pieces together because they come from different systems, they come from different styles. You're just trying to get these guys to figure out how to play together for 2.5 months and keep, and ultimately get to this point that we got to, and happy and thankful for all the parents and coaches that got us here.
So, kind of want to ask about, I guess one specific region matchup, obviously Mountain Crest. That ended up being the title game. Just what was that matchup like for you? And for me, when I was looking at Mountain Crest, I didn't get to watch them a ton, but the games I did watch, it seemed like they're a team that kind of like, I don't know, sometimes it feels like they're playing bad, and then all of a sudden they get a goal on you out of nowhere. Like they almost like thrive in chaos at times. And you guys had to draw them. I mean, I think you beat them 3-1 or 4-1 in the first game. Then I think you lost to them 2-0 in the rematch, and then faced them in the championship game. Like, what was that for you guys seeing them again in the last game?
Yeah, Coach Jensen put it as it's like throwing a rock into a hornet's nest with those guys. Coach Buse over there, he does a dang good job because they're very hard to plan on because they don't play a Pacific style. It's they'll play long and they'll play. They're super aggressive, and they win the 50-50 game. That's how they win their games. And if you can match that, but they're a nightmare to try to plan for because if you don't come out with intensity, you don't come out with win the 50-50 game. They're a team that just is going to beat you because of their hustle and their heart. We beat them up in Logan. We beat them up in Green Canyon the first season 4-1, and then we went down to Mountain Crest. And I have my reasons, but I mean Buse does a good job with that team, and the reffing in that game was not ideal. But all in all, we didn't play good enough to beat them down there. And then we knew what kind of team they are. We knew what kind of passion they had, and we just had to go out and match their intensity, stay compact. Don't give them the long ball, and I figure we could come out on top. And they're a great team and a great guy and a great coach. But I feel like in that game we got the better of them in that game.
So I guess maybe talk about you feel like you getting the better of them in that game, but like halftime 0-0, pretty even. I don't remember if there were really any great chances for either team in the first half of that game. Maybe there was one, but not many great chances for either team. Like, how did you feel in that locker room? Like, you're tied. You're certainly not out of it, but you're not ahead. So like, feels like it could have gone either way. What was the feeling in the locker room there?
Yeah, obviously, if Mount Crest scores a goal there, that the tempo changes. I mean, we had, Colby Knight had a slip ball from Gio Torres that he shot, and he maybe lost his footing a little bit, missed, and we had probably some good decent. But I felt like the tempo of the game, we controlled the tempo, and we had them sort of. And not for 1 minute in that game. I'm always nervous. Don't get me wrong, because the thing about Mount Crest is one thing about them is they don't quit. So they're going to get a chance. They're going to get a ball that a guy runs on, and they're going to get a chance. They could finish well, especially the last half of the season. I mean, they won a lot of games last half of the season. But I felt like it was coming. I felt like our chance that we were, I felt like the second half of Mount Crest was getting a little tired from us building out, and I feel like they're 7-11, and their 9 were wearing out a little bit. I felt like it was coming, and when that came, I just felt like it was going to be whoever scored the goal was going to win the game. I felt like it was that kind of a game, and but I felt good for most of the game that our effort was really good. We were really battling them in the midfield. That's where we lost it the last game, is they just destroyed us in the midfield. I mean, they were just taking advantage of us, and but that wasn't happening on that night. And our guys came ready to play, and they battled the whole game. And I felt pretty comfortable. Even obviously the last 10 minutes, you're not, you're defending more, and but I felt comfortable most of the game that our game plan and my thing is their heart was in it. Sometimes we played Logan and we played Mount Crest, their heart wasn't in the game, and I felt like my guys' heart was in the game the whole game, and I didn't feel like at any moment we're going to lose that game for some reason. I mean, no, until we got going, I had no idea. But when we got into the flow of the game, and I felt like that game was going to be ours for some reason. But I don't know. It was a great team. Hats off to Mount Crest and hats off to Buse. He always, I mean, he's been coaching the girls, and man, they're tough to beat. They're a tough team, and he gets them to play with heart and with passion, and so hats off to those guys. I'm glad it ended our way, but a great team and a great coach. So
Yeah. Well, I guess one thing, I'll cut Eric off, but
No, you're fine.
so both you and Justin Buse coached the girls' teams for your school, and Justin Buse got the better of you in the playoffs in the girls' season, and Mountain Crest went on to complete a nearly perfect season there. I guess was there a bit for you personally, like a bit of, not necessarily mean-spirited, I got him back, but like bit of relief that, hey, this time around, I got the better of it and managed to get a title.
yeah, I was tired of Buse getting the best of me. He did that 3 times at the girls, and he beat us. He got 9-0. We played him, in the girls, and that back line the girls had was something else. And the keeper, and they were special. That group was special. I'm excited to get him this year, though. Get a chance at him, and no, that was a special team, and hats off to him. That was 2 in a row for them, I think, right? 2 in a row for Mount Crest.
Yeah, for the girls, yeah.
Yeah, girls, yeah. So Buse has had a lot of success, so that's good on him. So
I wanted to ask you, Coach, just the opportunity for you and your players specifically being able to play on that field, in that arena. It's the home of Real Salt Lake. It's a special place for young players specifically to be able to play in a venue like that. Was that distracting, or just when the game got started, we're on the pitch and we're going to go play a game?
That was a special experience. I mean, even playing it, the girls didn't get to play at Zions Bank. They had to play at another high school for the semis last year.
Yeah.
Even going to Zions Bank and playing there, and then playing at Rio Tinto, and the fans were not even close to full. But when your fans were over there yelling, and it feels like that stadium is packed. When we scored that goal, and it felt like the whole stadium was full, and something they'll never forget. I mean, in their lives, being there, being on that field, playing on grass, playing in those seats, and it's special that RSL and lets us go there and have that tournament there, and those guys remember that for the rest of their lives. They'll never forget about it. And I was just blessed to be a part of it and be part of this journey with them, and and it was a special season and a special week for not only Green Canyon High School, for the Green Canyon soccer and the team. So
I'm curious about playing on the grass, because obviously all these kids, they grow up, they play on grass, and they go to high school and they play on turf. Remember the first time I played on turf and I slid, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just rubbed all the skin off my leg.
Yeah.
These guys kind of get used to playing on turf, maybe being careful of sliding, but
yeah,
it seemed like they were all too happy to slide all over the place on the grass there.
Oh yeah, they were excited for that. No rug burns. We have a couple guys that like doing that, and they're spending months getting their leg better. Because you're playing 2 games a week, and no, it was surreal experience. I'll remember that forever.
I just want to ask you, how did you guys celebrate? Did you have a chance to come home and do something with the student body and the whole high school, or have you had a chance to do that yet?
Yeah, we got done. The Principal Crosby, he went. They wanted to go to Kane, so he'd got there before us and ordered 50 3-piece tender meals, and there was a baseball team in there before us, and they were sort of looking like, are you serious? Or so we stopped there, and then we got to end of the bus ride was just fun and exciting, and they had an escort there waiting for us. We got to the valley, and we got to the school, and it was like, I think it was 1 a.m. by the time we got to the school, and so it was fun. We haven't got to celebrate how I want to yet, but we're going to do that. We're getting some arrangements done, and it's been a great experience.
So how's celebrating Kirt Sadler way? That's celebrating how you want.
Just winning that game, celebration up for me, buddy. That's all I needed. The rest of it's gravy to me, but I'm not a big fan of losing. And I don't take it very easy. It's part of life. but I don't take it very easy. So just winning that game and winning it with those boys. I mean, that was all 40 of the boys we had on the team. A special group, and the Scott Jensen, Aubrey Bracken, Casey Ashcroft, Mark, Kyle, and the boys we had that year. That's a special group of kids and a special group of coaching staff. To be over is sad to me. I get to love those guys, and I'm an ogre a lot of time in the games. I'm pretty hard on those guys, but we get done with the game, we get done with practice. We still love each other, and they still want to work hard, and that's when you have a great team, is when you can be hard on these guys and they still come back and fight for you every day. And not just for me, but for their school, for their parents, for themselves. That's what is exciting about the winning, going this far, or even if we don't go this far. Those guys have that kind of effort and heart, and that makes it worth it. All the practice, all the time, all the film, all this stuff, it all makes it worth it when you know that you guys have come, and whether you're hard or soft on them, they'll come either way and play hard. So it was a special time.
What happens now? I mean, you've got seniors that are graduating, but what happens with the boys soccer program at Green Canyon after this point now?
They're on we got to do little cleanup things to do, and we're just getting them ready for their club seasons, and they go back to their clubs, and I'm starting on the girls May 30th. I gotta be
right
Mount
away.
Chris this year at Ridgeline, so it's not going to be too early for me. So those guys have beat us both seasons last season, and so I'm getting ready for the girls, and we got a few party things to plan for the boys, but my focus is going to be on beating those guys.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to have you on after the girls' season. We're trying to have the coaches on now every time they win a championship. We missed a few this year, but we're glad we could have you on.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks for this time.
Yeah, once again, congratulations, Kirt Saddler, the Green Canyon boys soccer team, 4A state champions. Oh, I did want to ask you, next year will be different. We have more regions now in the middle of the state. How different do you think that's going to affect, like the regular season? Will it affect like how you schedule? Certainly, it's going to affect the playoffs with the number of teams that will be available there. But instead of having an extreme north and extreme south, you're going to have some other teams in the classification that you can play. I was meaning to ask you that earlier, and I forgot.
I'm excited about it. I mean, North and South's great, but generally speaking, our region has been extremely tough in the soccer programs in the North. So I'm excited not to line up with like Ridgeline in the second round, which Ridgeline for the boys was a phenomenal team and probably maybe could have been in the final with us. But we ended up beating the 1-0. The girls program, I've scheduled 5 6A schools and 1 5A. I have an old team, so I want to find out what I do have. So when I get to region, I can make my adjustments sooner. So I'm expecting big things out of my team this year, and I expect big things out of me. So, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited not to meet up with, maybe we'll escape our region for the first 2 rounds, and I don't mind playing them in the second, third, and fourth round or whatever we have, but I'm excited not to run into them this early and not have to. I think those regions are good regions, but I'm excited for the chance to maybe skip our region for a few rounds.
Not going to play like half the teams in your region 3 times because you meet them all in the playoffs.
No. And as tough as the boys was this year too, Ridgeline, Mount Crest, Skyview was good. Logan, we struggled with Logan. But they were close in all their games. I mean, I'm excited not to have that scenario. Hopefully, because again, Mount Crest is going to be good. I think Ridgeline will be good. Skyview is going to be decent. Logan and that, I don't know their numbers, but I'm excited to play some other schools. I'm excited to try. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, this has been great, but more schools, and it makes it even sweeter when you get there,
Very true. Very well said. Well, Coach, once again, thanks for coming down, spending some time with us. Congratulations again to you and the rest of your team and to the high school. An exciting year for boys soccer at Green Canyon.